Gentlemen, thanks for coming on today.
Good to be here. Good to see you again, Rob. It's been a while.
Been too long, Brad. But of course, with that being the case, I'm going to hit you up with the first question. I wanted to get a coach's take in a nutshell of your 2025 season.
Yeah, I mean, the coach's take is it was progress and development, which was obviously really, really good for us as a whole. So I think it set us up. We've obviously turned the page at this point of the year, but it's really set us up to kind of pick up where we left off. We had a few wins that we felt pretty proud of last year, but overall came up short of what our ultimate goal was, and we're excited to take that on this year.
Well, with that, you've not only added some new athletes to your team, which we'll get into, but you've added a new family member to the household. So first, congratulations, but I've got to ask the follow-up. How has the transition from married coach to married new dad coach been for you?
It's been about as smooth as it can be. Every day is a little bit different, and we've enjoyed it a lot. We haven't been sleeping a ton, but I think that's par for the course, and it's been really cool, and it's definitely shifted some perspectives. Getting to work with these guys, and then going home and seeing Walker be able to fit in my arms. It's quite the mindset shift, and makes what we get to do and the people we get to do it with and the young men we get to be around so much more valuable and a little more impactful in some ways for me.
Well, with that, Leo, with Coach, the new family member, are you trustworthy enough to be a good babysitter for Coach?
We were talking about this earlier. I'm not on the bottom of the list, but I think there's some guys that would be a little bit better than me, honestly. But I'm give the baby a fun time for sure. So I think I'd make him laugh. But
he came by for a practice, and then he fell asleep before we met at the whiteboard. So he didn't. He's got some coach on-ones to make up at some point.
Well, I'm going to stick to you, Leo, and you've got some new staff members on with Brad and the rest of the team, and Noah Cotterman and Jorge Colazo. How have they been transitioning into your team and practicing, and how's the experience been so far?
It's been pretty seamless, which I can say we've been lucky. All 4 years that I've been here, we've had plenty of coaching switches, especially with the assistants. Jorge's been around for a while, but we've definitely had some rotation within that third spot. But I think the coaching staff has done a great job just kind of making that switch seem pretty simple, and it's not like, whoa, like who's this new guy? Like this will take some time to adjust. It's usually pretty seamless by the time we start the season. And Noah's done a great job stepping in. Hasn't been afraid to teach us some new things. He's stepping up and can ask for anything else.
How about for you, Brad? How did that all come about for you? Obviously, we've had a few assistants moving in and out, not because of you, obviously, but
common denominator here.
But yeah, it's been great, and obviously there's some struggles with some new staff members and kind of the turnover in the assistant coach position, but we're also really lucky that we get to live in San Diego, and that's part of it. That is a factor in any decision, is that cost of living. But then on the volleyball side, it's great because we get to learn and pick up lots of cool pieces from lots of different people. And for perspective, Noah and I, we were competing when we were in the NAI and got to go up against each other a ton. And now after he had a year as a head coach and wanting to kind of come into this level of volleyball was really exciting for me, just because I've seen what he can do, how he can operate on the sidelines, and how he can get his team's plan and executing the game plan. So we've been really grateful and lucky to have him, and stoked to see the continued impact he has.
Well, Leo, I didn't get to bounce this question off of you, but as a student athlete competing in 2025, what were your thoughts being the one competing on the court for the Tritons in the most competitive conference and then into the conference championships in 2025?
Yeah, it was kind of like one of the years where we had a lot of guys in the system for a while, and it was kind of like our chance to really test ourselves and see what we could do. And obviously we came a little bit short, but we had a lot of games we were proud of for sure. And it was kind of personally like one of my opportunities to step up and be a role player for this team and really build some success that we could bring into this year. So now I feel a little bit more comfortable with myself and my own play style, and hopefully I can help some of the newer guys that haven't started as much, or we have a lot of new pieces that we can bring together on this team, and I think everyone can equally contribute. So I'm looking forward to see how that transfers over to this year.
I'm going to bounce over to Brad here, as he's been doing the recruiting and getting the new faces, which I wanted to ask you about, which is getting some well-experienced transfers. I wanted to find out how they've been meshing with the current team and the other new faces in the Triton gym.
Yeah, we got 7 new faces. We graduated a lot, and then obviously with the roster size reduction across the NCAA for men's volleyball, we've added 7 to our 11 returners. And really, like with all of our transfers or with all of our incoming freshmen, the transition is about as seamless as it can be. There's always some different pieces that are always going to come up, whether it be some class registration pieces or just managing the workload here as a student and then as an athlete, and then having to deal with me being a little crazy at times. Takes some growing pains, but really all these guys are here because they want to compete for national championships. They want to be better as volleyball players, be better as men. So then with the understanding that's why we're all here and that's our all core principles that we're striving for, it's really easy to get everyone on board and get them acclimated with guys like Leo and other guys who are great teammates, great volleyball players, and awesome people.
And Leo, with you becoming one of the top leaders on your team with the experience as well as talent and ability, what have you been doing in the off season to prepare for 2026?
It's kind of been, my first few years I was kind of a little scrawny kid, so those were focused more on the weight room. So now I've kind of like established my body. Obviously there's still room to improve, but it's more about kind of just watching film and really seeing what I can improve on skill-wise from last year for myself, especially with this new team. We're going to be playing with a little bit more size, so kind of how I can better myself to be more of a consistent piece for our team and let some of the bigger guys go to work and put some balls down for us. So I think, just really honing in on my skills. I really got to get that passing up so I can be one of those consistent guys for our team. But just kind of doing the smaller things so that some of our guys can just be free to play and take over this year.
Well, you bring up an interesting point with being one of the more experienced guys, but you also returned 2 of the more experienced middles in the Big West, and Jim Garrison and Peter Selcho, and I'm sure you got some other new places, but you got to like your starting point here, Brad.
Yeah, we're happy with who we have in our gym, who we brought in, and I think that's ultimately, as you go through, the start of fall to the end of fall, and especially with some of the competition we got to put ourselves through, it's, when we're able to zoom out and look at things, it's, hey, within the NCAA landscape, within the Big West, are we in the mix or are we not in the mix? And I think as a coach, you can answer that question, say, yes, we're in the mix, and that's something that we feel like we're in the mix. Then you always feel a little bit better going into the season and going into all your competitions we have ahead of us.
Yeah. My next question, I usually ask the coach, but I'm going to flip the script this time and put it on the student athlete. No problem. You've got this one. But, as your schedule has been released, it appears that the Tritons are going to be battle tested early with BYU twice, UCLA, Lewis, and Loyola. What are your thoughts on the early challenges?
Oh, I can tell you, all the guys have been nothing but excited for those. BYU, it's going to be our first time, I think, for everyone on the team going up there, right?
Maybe Peter?
Maybe Pete, yeah. But a lot of the guys, it's going to be our first time there, and we all know what it's like there. It's a fun atmosphere. I think it's just going to be a good test early to kind of shake the nerves, give us some good competition right in the beginning of the year. So that way we'll just be ready to face anyone throughout the year. And then, last year we kind of had a little bit slower start with the competition, kind of just to ease us into it. We had a lot of new guys that hadn't really played together before, but now I think we're ready to kind of give us a little bit more of a challenge in the beginning of the year. We'll see how that pays off. But we're all excited for it.
Now, Brad, was that an intentional into the gauntlet of fire, or you wanted to kick it up a few levels from last year, like the slow into the season, and just go right into the fire on this year?
Yeah, honestly, it kind of happened a little bit naturally, and some things kind of came up outside of our control in some of the trips and some situations. But realistically looking at it, especially now with the expanded tournament field, and even thinking back to this past yesterday with the women's volleyball brackets, where there was a really strong emphasis on that strength of schedule within those last few spots within the tournament, or those last few spots hosting. And, I think as our tournament field keeps expanding, that strength of schedule is going to be a huge piece and determining factor for us. So as some programs are shifting towards more of that slower ramp up like we had last year, which I thought worked out pretty good for us at some points. But ultimately, we want to take on a little bit more of a challenge. We want to push ourselves, and we really want to see how good and great we feel like we can be.
Well, I've got to ask you, Leo, with that kind of schedule and the competition that's going to be in hand, from a student athlete perspective, how do you prepare for that season, knowing you've got these battles out of the gate?
Yeah, I mean, with us being a quarter school, we kind of have like a tough little break right before season starts. We'll be coming back right around after Christmas. So just really getting in the gym. We've built ourselves, Coach has been talking about this all year, but we've had a pretty tough fall. Like, we've been working hard, getting in the gym daily, weight room every other day, really pushing our limits, just so that when we come back, our foundation's already there, and all that we're going to need is a couple weeks of getting back in the gym, kind of just building that cohesion again. But we're going to be ready out the gate to come win some games. So I'm as ready as ever to have a tough start of the year, tough schedule to start it off, but I think all of us are ready with the mindset that we're going to come in and win 5 games off the bat.
Well, Brad, I wanted to ask you, with the finish of fall competition, what's your early assessment of what you're seeing on the court for your Tritons?
Well, first, I'm glad we get a little break. We had some of the guys get a little banged up, and we had some bumps and bruises along the way because we have been pushing the guys pretty hard, and they've really responded well through it. But I think ultimately, the first contact is something we keep coming back to. And it hasn't been as consistent as we'd like, but we saw it at times where we could serve and pass at an extremely effective level and at a level that will allow us to be really successful. And then I think the other piece is just kind of some of the block and defense components that we've been able to build upon and grow. And with some of the guys returning, like Leo, and then also Peter and Jim in the middle, we've seen some growth and progress in that phase, to where that was a little bit of a limiting factor for us at points throughout the season last year.
Well, you also have a handful of pretty good Libros on deck, or service reception specialists, so to speak, and everyone's healthy. So it'd be interesting to see what you do with your lineup this year.
Yeah, it's been one of the most fun competitions, and I know for Leo especially too, getting to pass next to both those guys. But both Keegan Cook started for us all last season, and then Evan Boyle, the 2 seasons previous, started for us. And so having 2 liberos really get to battle it out and duke it out has been awesome from the coaching perspective, because we have seen such great emphasis on us being able to stay in system by them trying to do a little bit more to help out the outside hitters, to help out some of the younger passers around them. So yeah, we've been really impressed with both Keegan and Evan, and the reality is both of them will probably end up being utilized in some capacity, but we're lucky to have that competition. I think they've done a great job of setting the tone for what 2 experienced starters competing, what it looks like, how you're supposed to go about it, how they're focusing on themselves, their growth, their development throughout it.
All right. Why don't we get the easy question over towards Leo, because there's exciting news as we left the summer there, but the NCAA tournament expanding to 12 teams. It's got to be an exciting time for you as a student athlete.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just great to see that, some more funding and attention is getting towards men's volleyball. I've seen some things like on social media too, where even in high school, the growth of volleyball is like almost triple or quadruple that of other sports. So it's just cool to see that, it's finally expanding a little bit, and I'm sure people have been arguing for that for a while now. So it's cool to kind of see that come to fruition.
I'm going to bounce back over to Brad, and I like these retrospective questions, being that he's a seasoned vet with 4 years at the helm of the Tritons. But what are you taking into the 2026 campaign based on what you've learned so far during your coaching tenure?
Yeah, I think the biggest piece is, just continuing to do what we've been doing, to where we don't need to throw everything out. Literally don't need to throw out the baby with the bathwater. As I'm getting all too familiar with draining the bathtub, but there's going to be some ebbs and flows throughout the year, throughout the season. And that can be on the individual perspective, the team perspective. And really just my role is kind of being able to identify what the team needs and where the team's at in the present moment, whether it be, in that tough stretch in January or in a stretch in February where we're ramping back up, or in March as we get to conference play, understanding the ebbs and flows of the season and competition, the players and their bodies, and then also the academic rigor that's also going on throughout the course of the season. With us having 2 trips in January, we're fully aware that we're going to have to adjust some of our practice and training to be able to accommodate and allow for our guys to be awesome students too. So yeah, it's kind of, you just learn every year, right? And that's what we're always trying to do. And something that I'm sure there'll be a lot we'll learn after this year too. And that's why we love what we get to do.
Well, Leo, unfortunately, I got one of the toughest questions going your way to finish our interview. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm doing it.
I'm always interested to see how the student athletes perceive their fellow athletes and opponents. But I'm curious, as to being one of the top athletes in Division I, II men's volleyball, who you think is a Big West Player of the Year candidate in your eyes this upcoming season?
Well, we don't talk about our opponents in a high regard too often, but I think every team has some guys that could have a breakout year. Especially compared to last year, there's gonna be a lot of faces that maybe you don't expect to see that can just break out on every team. But we just had a little scrimmage with Hawaii. I thought they had a couple impressive guys. Their setter, Tread Rosenthal, was pretty solid. So I can see him making a case for it for sure. But I don't know. I think there's also a few guys on our team that can make a case. I think just time will tell.
There you go. See, that's why it's the toughest question for you, Leo. That's a Leo Pravednikov, outside hitter for UC San Diego, and head coach Brad Rostratter. Appreciate your time here on the Big West Preview.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.